Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of WiiDS for the 24th of March 2007. Not WiiDS, WiiDS.
I'm James.
I'm Manny.
I'm Tom.
And whether you're at home, at school, at work, or crying in the toilet because Ben couldn't make it to the show, this is the best Nintendo podcast for news, reviews, and discussion delivered straight to your hard drive. And here's James with this week's top Nintendo news stories.
EA boogie on down, Wii Internet channel slips, Nintendo denies hard drive suggestions, and the next generation begins. Electronic Arts is inviting Wii owners to strut their funky stuff with their newly announced title, Boogie. The game will let players create and customise a character and use the motion-sensitive controls to sing and dance in their own music video. Alain Tascan, General Manager at EA Montreal, said, "We're creating something new and different for gamers of all ages to enjoy. A complete party package where gamers can dance as well as sing. Nintendo's Wii is an amazing console that really gives us a platform to be creative and to rethink traditional game development." Nintendo and Opera announced this week that the final version of the Wii Internet channel has slipped from its original March release date and will appear in April. This has been attributed to last-minute tweaks that Opera promise will ensure a better surfing experience. Among the improvements, there is said to be quicker startup times and accessibility to favourites, as well as smoother scrolling and zooming. The channel is free until June, after which it will cost 500 Wii points. Nintendo has dismissed the notion that an external hard drive is currently in development for the Wii, after rumours swept the world earlier this week. The rumours originated from Japanese gaming magazine Game Labo, which claimed that Nintendo of Japan executives held a special meeting recently to discuss the new hard drive. A Nintendo of Europe spokesperson has stated that such reports are pure rumour and speculation. However, Nintendo did confirm plans to create a DS headset allowing players to take part in online voice chats. It is believed the device is due to go on sale alongside Pokemon Diamond and Pearl at the US launch next month. And finally, the next generation has officially begun. Sony's PlayStation 3 was released in Europe and Australia on Friday, March 23rd, the last next generation console to be released in all markets. At Virgin's Oxford Street Megastore, Sony's official launch partner, the 125 people in the queue were promised a free 46-inch Bravia television when they bought the PS3. The Virgin Megastore opened its doors at midnight, despite police concern over muggings, and everyone was offered a free taxi in order to ensure that they returned home safely. And that was the news for WiiDS episode 14. Back to the show. Right, to start off with, I realise that we may kick up a little bit of controversy on the forums here, but we're going to have a 5-minute discussion on the PlayStation 3 launch. So, fellas, what do you think about this?
Well, I woke up this morning and thought, oh, PS3's launched, turned on my radio to find that those who waited in the basement of Virgin Megastores for the last 3 days or so, and there were 100 people, which is a lot less than who waited for the Wii, they were all rewarded by Sony, which they were all given an HD TV, Sony of course, Sony Bravia, which are the best in my opinion, but they're worth £2,500, they're 46 inches, and they were also given a free taxi ride home.
I think that is fantastic. No, to be fair, the taxi ride home, now that is because in America when the PlayStation 3 launched,
yes,
there were people killed, attacked, stabbed, beaten up, mugged. So, and the police were actually concerned about a midnight launch because of mugging. But I wouldn't think you would get Oxford Street muggers. But yeah, the police wanted to stop a midnight launch because they thought there were going to be muggers, so that's why they brought in the taxis.
It really seems like the demand has gone down since the US launch, because before no one knew what it was and what it could do, so everyone was like so eager to get their hands on one, and now everyone's like seeing what happened in the US, and all the eBay controversy and all that stuff. I think that it's been a quiet launch, hasn't it? To be honest. Yeah,
it has been very quiet. I mean, it hasn't exactly changed the world. I mean, like I went to Tesco Home Plus today, and there was like loads of PlayStation 3s on the shelf and boxes, and not a single person touched them.
No.
Right, and granted I was only there for about half an hour, but not a single person was looking to buy a PlayStation 3.
No, you're right, and what was I going to say? They said, I read a statement about Sony, there were no celebrities, unlike at the Wii event, there was no big Oxford Street thing. It wasn't big.
Yeah.
There was nothing huge at all. And Sony said it's all about the customers for us, or something like that, which to me just implied. I don't know what it meant, but it just seemed a bit cheap. But I think personally, I've heard that Sony lose $300 on each PlayStation 3 they sell.
Jesus.
And for those who don't understand why they would do that, it's called they can't sell it anymore because no one would buy it. But because you buy a PlayStation 3 and you love it, you might want to buy other Sony products that they make a large profit on. Like Amazon, for example, sell Harry Potter books for ridiculously low prices that they make a loss on. But you go and buy it from them, and when you're on the site, you see something else you want, and then they make a profit on that. It draws in the customers. But they lost in total. If you $5 grand US for the TVs that were worth £2,500 and $300 on each PS3. So each PS3 they sold, all 100 of them on that night in Virgin Megastores, lost them $5,300 each time.
Jesus. I think that was a very shrewd move, like the giving away of TVs, because if they'd announced that beforehand, there would have been more demand, but it would have been for the TVs, because I don't know, £2,500. You know, you'd be more expecting of them to give away a £2,500 pound TV, and then when you buy one of those, you get a PS3 for free.
Yeah.
But doing it the other way round, they were bound to be attacked by people wanting big TVs. I just think that's hilarious. And the fact that only 125 people turned up to Virgin Megastore on Oxford Street, which was the official launch partner, that's like, that is pathetic. That's a pathetic amount of people to turn up. And granted, I mean, to be fair, we have to wait for sales figures to like say whether or not it's been a success. But like, and we won't get sales figures for a couple of weeks. But so far, it hasn't rocked the world.
But it's the price. I really think that if they didn't have Blu-ray and it was just, you know, like Xbox 360 price, it would have done way better and people would have waited. But because people knew that the price was going to be this high, people just didn't wait.
There's an element of there's only so long you can wait, because I imagine there are a number of people who have waited for the PS3, but when they announced it wasn't going to be out in November, that it was going to be out in March, I imagine a number of people went out and bought 360 instead, not bothering to wait that extra 6 months, because that's a long time.
And also the arrogance will have put people off. The arrogance of Sony in the last few months.
Yeah.
And just slightly off topic, but I will come straight back on. In a response to the arrogance, at GDC 07, just before Shigsy's speech, Reggie was signing things for fanboys up on the stage at the keynote, and as you all might know, when Reggie came in, he said, "I'm about taking names and kicking ass," and so a Nintendo fanboy spots Phil Harrison, who is head of worldwide Sony PS3 stuff, in the front row, and goes, "Hey Reggie, look who it is! Kick his ass!" Take his name and kick his ass. And Reggie goes, "I think some say we might have already done that."
And on that ownage note, I think we're going to have to move on. Announcements. First of all, we've mutinied. No, I'm joking. Ben's unavailable to record this week, so we're carrying on in his stead.
Yes, we can't have 2 weeks without a show.
Absolutely. I was going to say, and we can only apologise for last week. We made our excuses on the forums, but we may as well make them here. My particular excuse for not recording last week was that I locked myself out of a car and ended up stranded 20 miles away from home for about 4 or 5 hours.
Oh god, that must have been so much fun.
Yes, it was good fun. It was particularly amusing given that I was trying to break into my own car in the middle of the day and no one called the police. But still. I mean, why were you guys unable to record last week? Because I'd lost track of where everyone was.
Ben and I were getting ready. We were going up to London the next day.
Yeah.
For Mugglecast, which is a Harry Potter podcast. We listened to a live podcast, which was very fun, and me and Ben met each other and said hi and stuff.
Excellent.
So we had a great time, and we had an awesome time. But we just didn't really have. We could have recorded, but the thing that killed it was James not being able to be there.
Yeah. Sorry about that, fellas.
That just wouldn't have worked.
Well, these things happen, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly to me. See, at least you had a valid reason. I was just stupid. Okay, any other announcements?
No.
Right. Don't forget you can all email us at weedspodcast@gmail.com, and you can join the forums if you haven't already at www.weedsforum.com. We start with, as ever, what games have you been playing? So, Manny, what have you been playing this week?
Well, this week I picked up some GameCube games.
Good boy, which ones?
Picked up Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
Which I had before, but you made me want me to get it again.
I love that game.
You're like, I'm swinging through a city, and I was like, oh, I want to do that now.
I'm sorry,
So,
I can lose about like 4 hours there. And I love the fact that, Spider-Man 3 is basically going to be a bigger version of Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3
If they come back to it, it's gonna, I think it's gonna
Spider-Man
be like a
3
proper
for the
sequel
DS. The DS version is going to be the same. So it's going to be free roaming. Rather than a side-on platformer.
Wow, really?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, that
It's
should
gonna be awesome.
something to look forward to as well. I also collected Tomb Raider Legend.
Oh right, yes.
I'm not a big fan of Tomb Raider. I've never really ever played a Tomb Raider game, but I heard good the reviews were quite good for this game, like what I heard. And Garnet from One Up, he always waxes lyrical about it and says it's like really good. So I picked it up, and it was $24.99 game, but it was pre-owned. But when I went to the counter, like the lady couldn't find the pre-owned game, so she gave me a brand new one. And when she scanned it, it was even cheaper than $24.99. It was $14.99.
I say it's $14.99
so I got a brand new
mine,
GameCube game for $14.99. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but yeah, it's a pretty good game. It's like it reminds you of Prince of Persia.
I just worry that came to... That was a real serious coup for Nintendo, finally getting a Tomb Raider title, but it came literally like the week after the Wii.
Yeah.
It was released the week after the Wii, that was just too late.
I don't know how much money they actually made off that game, if it was actually worth them making a GameCube game.
Tom, what have you been playing this week?
This week I've been playing a myriad of games. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
I kicked off the week with Red Steel. I still haven't finished it. I've been taking it slowly, like a level a week or a level every 2 weeks. People say it was too short or it wasn't good enough, but I've really enjoyed it that way, and I've been having a great time. I'm on the second to last level in the dojo. Where you've got to defend it. Well, it's already under siege, so you've got to save it, I guess. Save the students. That's been very fun. I then played a bit of Excite Truck as well. I'm taking that pretty slowly as well. I don't play on the Wii too much. I don't have much time at the moment, but my schedule's calming down. So I shall be getting lots of playing in the next 2 weeks, I hope. And that was good. And of course, SSX Blur, which I purchased on Monday night, used the free delivery. Was told 5 to 7 working days. But then of course with Amazon, they just want you to buy the fast delivery, and they get it to you quick no matter which delivery you buy. So I got it by Wednesday.
Excellent.
I forgot I was playing that as well. I forgot to tell you about that. I played it in a bit of a whirlwind, so yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Well, this week I've been, I was really stupid. I watched GameTrailers.com's preview of Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and it said that you can transfer monsters from Fire Red, Sapphire, like the GBA games, and I didn't have one of those, so I went out and bought Fire Red, because I've lost my copy of Red, and I wanted to train up some beasties for Diamond, but the trouble is, because that's now on my DS, and it can just turn on in a second, every time I'm sitting doing my homework, I've just flicked it on and played that, and I've been playing that all bloody week. Other than that, I've been playing Splinter Cell Double Agent, and it works on the Wii. I don't care what everyone said, it works. So, it's good. Right, Manny, would you like to start us off with tonight's debate?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll start off by just telling you about last week's debate. It was extremely close, actually, which pretty understandable considering it was Mario versus Sonic. Anyway, Ben put up a good fight with Sonic, and he gathered 46% of the votes. But it was me, with 53% of the votes, that took home the Weed's crown.
Excellent, well done.
It was really close. I mean, Ben was winning for like the beginning of the week, like most of the week, and then I don't know, somehow my fans came.
Let's be
disappoint me.
Let's be fair. If we'd recorded last week, you'd have lost because the votes were all towards Ben.
Oh, I knew you was going to come up with that. Oh God, trust you to make sense.
Absolutely.
Anyway, now we've established that Mario is definitely awesome. But what does the future hold for the podgy moustache Italian? Should he reach for the stars, or go back down to his roots? This week, debate asks, which is a better direction for Mario? Super Mario Galaxy, or Super Paper Mario? Well, you know the rules. You both have 5 full minutes to present your case, and then a further 10 minutes in which to scrap it out to the death. So, without further ado, in the blue corner, defending Fat Mario and the whole galaxy, literally, is Tom the Rudders Rutland! And in the red corner, defending Flat Mario and a paper thin world full of colour, and Nintendo Algebra is James the Tortilla Man Bachelor.
Thomas, we meet again.
Oh
Dun,
god.
dun, dun. Okay. I want a good clean fight, no kicking,
No
spitting,
chance.
or, biting each other's ears off or anything stupid like that. Anyway, so, who's going first?
Tom, I'll let you go first.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, tell me when to start, Manny.
Right, round 1. Fight!
Super Mario Galaxy is the third main 3D Mario game. It will be the 13th installment in the main Mario series, and it was announced at Nintendo's press conference at E3 on May the 9th, 2006. It's going to be coming out towards the later part of the year. Mario Galaxy brings Mario to a whole new world, or even galaxy. It fires Mario up into space for the first time, and he will be hopping from planet to planet in a wonderful world of fantastic graphics, beautiful sounds, and stunning gameplay. In Mario Galaxy, we will be seeing multiplayer for the first time in a Mario console game. Takashi Tezuka, Nintendo's analysis and development general manager, stated that Mario Galaxy will have cooperative multiplayer. The development team is already experimenting with new ways to use the Wii Remote so that one player can control Mario while the other aids him. Conversely, Miyamoto also suggested that the second player could have the ability to interfere with Mario's progress. So this would imply that you should be able to move the environment, perhaps, or change the environment while the other person runs around and as Mario and tries to collect coins and stars, so you can help them, you can hinder them, do whatever you want. The controls are going to be fantastic. They're going to be easy, they're going to be fun, and they're going to be awesome. The control stick will be used on the nunchuck to move Mario, it makes things easy. It's good for well-known gamers who are well attributed to the Mario games and to new gamers too. The A button will be used for jumping, although we have seen the Wiimote being flicked before in videos to jump Mario for the Wii, although those were only promotion videos and they may not be and probably will not be included in the game. You're gonna crouch with Z, which obviously retro fans will love and know. It looks like you're going to be pointing and shaking the Wiimote at things, like the stars, to make coins come out of them and things. We're not quite sure exactly what will happen, but it looks fantastic and very fun. Typical plot, of course, to a Mario game. Princess Peach is kidnapped and Mario follows the culprit to wherever he goes, this time outer space. Mario will encounter enemies and bosses while travelling around between spherical planets and flat space platforms. Shigeru Miyamoto doesn't want to promise anything. He says it's going to be fantastic, and we've heard that we're going to be playing it this year. It's expected to be the later part of the year, as I earlier said, although it was originally slated for a summer 2006 release. I personally think that pushing the release date back can only mean good things and that they're adding improvements to the game. This game looks beautiful, it sounds wonderful, and it looks charming. Vote for Mario Galaxy.
Okay, are you done?
I am done.
That was 3 minutes again. You still got 2 minutes. Do you want to carry on, or shall I?
I will let James have my extra minutes if he wishes.
Okay.
No. I'll tell you what. I'll take 3 minutes because I probably don't have enough to talk about for 5. Right. Super Paper Mario.
Wait, not ready. Okay. Are you ready?
I am now.
Alright. Round 2. Fight!
Super Paper Mario is the fourth installment in the Super Mario RPG series, which started off with Super Mario RPG on the SNES, which wasn't actually released over here, and it was really good. It was a 3D isometric Mario RPG, and it was a fully fledged RPG game. So it had the epic storyline, it had all the different levels, and all different gameplays, mini games, and that. But it had a great sense of humour, and it really it was Nintendo, poking at itself and taking the mick. Bowser had enough trouble controlling his Koopa Troop. That was then expanded onto Paper Mario on the N64. That was that got a sequel, Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year-Old Door on GameCube. And here we have Super Paper Mario, the next instalment in the series, on the Wii. It started off as a GameCube game, which was a massive surprise. It was really well received at E3. I think it was last year's E3 or the E3 before. And everyone was really impressed, which was surprising given that it's quite an underrated game. It's one of those games that's really good, but didn't sell too well. Originally it was going to be GameCube, then it was going to be GameCube and Wii. Now it's a Wii exclusive, and it takes Mario back to his roots. Now, it builds on the success of New Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. Is quite possibly one of the best-selling DS games ever. Even like 6 months after its release, it was still topping the charts, because it's an homage to the 2D Marios, and this is an homage to the 2D Mario. But rather than just recreating that old 2D Mario feel, this twists the whole thing literally on its side. When you're like, all the levels are basically 2D Mario levels. You walk from left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, jumping blocks and stuff. But if you build up your meter, and I believe it's by beating enemies no longer is these tedious turn-based battles from the previous Paper Mario titles were like heavily RPG. The previous Paper Mario battles had you doing turn-based actions, which was really long and boring. But this is proper, just you just stomp on the heads, earns you experience points which you can build up his abilities with. If you fill up your meter by beating enemies, you press A, and the whole level twists 90 degrees, so you look down the level. So rather than moving left to right, you're moving from the back of the level to the front. And this offers up like loads of like really hidden extras. So things like, there are a number of original Super Mario Brothers levels recreated in Super Paper Mario. So things like when you've got one of those staircases of blocks, if you turn it on the side, there may well be a warp pipe in between, right? A row of 10 coins may well turn around and be 50 coins. And things like the thwomps that...
Stop.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop you there.
Okay, sorry, I rabbited.
Okay. Alright, so you have 10 minutes now to really go for it and seal the deal, okay?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, finish him!
James, I'll let you start.
Tom, I'm sorry, but Super Mario Galaxy, it looks like a test level, because all it is little balls to walk on, right? There's no real level design. You can just throw some like different blocks in. It's like Rogue Leader, when you do the asteroid level. I was really excited about doing the asteroid level because I wanted to swoop around big ones. It's just randomly generated blocks that you just have to swim around. To be fair, the Super Mario Galaxy galaxies aren't that much different. It's just blocks that you just jump on.
Oh, that's all we've seen. There could be. We'd only seen, I think it's 2 or 3 videos of this game, and we all know what Twilight Princess was like. We'd seen none of it when it came out. I bet this is exactly the same.
But Twilight Princess, when you did see the videos, what you saw is what you got.
In some places, yes.
No, but
in others,
gameplay-wise, it's what you see is what you got. It's just, it's too predictable, right? The reason, say, Super Mario Galaxy is doing these little ball things, these asteroids and meteoroids and planetoids and oids, the general oids, right, is because in Super Mario Sunshine, which was the second 3D Mario game, it didn't go down too well because not many people enjoyed the environments. But people did agree that the void levels, where you like just running along blocks and getting blocks and balls and platforms, were better because they were more Mario. So they thought, well, why not just make a whole game out of this? This is just simply getting his way.
They're listening to the fans. If that's what the fans want, that's what they're going to get. I think, personally, it's a fantastic idea. It looks fantastic. It's fun. It's open plan. You can run around quite freely, and that's what gamers want these days. You want to be able to.
You can't run around quite freely. You're limited to these little blocks. If you could fly between them
planets,
because when you fly between them, you fly on a direct path to the next block. You can't fly and explore.
Yes, but you still get this feeling of flight and freedom.
No, you don't. You're trapped on these tiny little balls, right? And then any travelling in between the balls is completely guided. You can't move at all. Super Paper Mario, you have the freedom. You have the freedom of Christ knows how many dimensions. You can move like left to right as usual, but then you
left and right 2D.
Yes,
such skill, such wonder.
But that's where Mario's success lies. That's where his roots are, and that's where he's always been best. So many characters have failed to come into 3D, right? And
which game do you prefer, Mario 64 or New Super Mario Bros?
New Super Mario Brothers, easily. Easily, because it's more fun, it's more accessible, it's more pick up and play, right? But the difference is, no, you can't compare Mario 64 to Mario Galaxy, because Mario 64 had some really good level designs, And Mario Galaxy doesn't. It's just balls in the
But we could have only seen one level.
How do you know that it's not like the rest of that? Perhaps the reason they've
How do you know it isn't?
How do you know? Perhaps the reason they've only shown us those is because that's it. That's all you need to see. Right?
No,
Luigi's Mansion, when that came out, we only saw 2 or 3 rooms. They didn't need to show you all of them. They didn't need to show you the roof courtyard or the garden, because all the rooms are the same, because you're still 2D. You're still going to be walking around on balls, like on planetoids and meteoroids and so forth. Right? It's just, it's Shigsy getting his way. It's Shigsy getting his way, because originally he was going to have...
What Shigsy does, he does good. Everybody knows that. I don't think he's done about
Yes, but Shigsy's also done Super Paper Mario, and that is good. I'm sorry. Super Paper Mario is so much more original than Mario Galaxy, right?
No, but you can't say that because it stemmed from Super Paper Mario.
No, because it's got the original concept of the twisting 2D to 3D, so you can see behind the 2D items. It opens up a whole other dimension. There's some areas where there's a character standing side on. Because he's paper thin, you can't see him when you're going left to right. But if you flip, he's suddenly there, and it can be something completely different. He can give you like an extra item. It's you have to check every single corner. It's like going back to Super Mario Brothers 2, where you have to drop the potion and it made a new door. And depending on where you put it, you might find an extra item, like in the Nether realm. It completely It's such a unique concept, turning 2D into 3D halfway through the game, and expanding the 2D backwards, that it deserves to be done. It's like it's one of those games that makes you think, why has no one come up with this before? Mario Galaxy is like, oh, he's running around on rocks. Well, it's different to running around a port, I guess, but it's nothing huge.
James, which game has sold thousands more copies? Which franchise? The Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, or Super Paper Mario?
No, but yes. Like I said, it's criminally underrated. It's the best games do not get bought that often, right? It's just, I don't know. It's just something to do with like gamers don't trust change or anything. But the better games are not always the ones that sell the most. Right? If you look at the Christmas charts, you look at sales, and if that sells a lot, you follow that route. Surely, no, but sales means nothing. I'm sorry, right? But Christmas charts, for example, if like Zelda, for example, is often beaten by things like FIFA or Bratz or whatever. Does that mean that those games are better than Zelda? No, it doesn't.
We live in a chav nation.
No, we do not live in a chav nation. The chavs are just moving in. I'm sorry, it's just not that original. He's just doing it, and it makes you feel sick. I've seen the trailers. It makes you feel sick when he's walking upside down and on the weird angles and everything. It's
not for me. It adds a whole new dimension and playing. It looks fantastic.
It's one of those games that makes the Wii.
The charming soundtrack and graphics and the game. When you see the trailers, it just makes you happy. It's charming. It's wonderful. It's amazing.
It's one of those games that makes the Wii look inaccessible because you've got to do the nunchuck and the remote. And even to people like the reason non-gamers are picking up on this is because they're enjoying the games where you only have to use the remote. If you put a nunchuck in my sister's hand, she panics. She cannot use it. Right? Super Paper Mario is played with the controller turned on its side, like the old NES pads. We're going back to 1986 here, when anyone, your mum, your dad, your gran,
but we're
could play
in 2007. They need to come to the future.
No, we need to cater for any people, any accessibility. We need to move.
You can't cater for everyone.
Mario Galaxy is the hardcore Mario game. Super Paper Mario, but Super Paper Mario is expanding into non-gamers. Non-gamers could play Super Paper Mario, and the Wii is all about expanding the demographic, getting non-gamers to play games. And it'd be more appealing to someone to a new Wii owner who's never played a 3D Mario game in his life. It'd be more appealing.
Yes, but what about the multiplayer that brings players and families together to play?
Yeah, but so does Mario Party. You don't need there's plenty of multiplayers available.
Different franchise.
Multiplayer wise, nowadays people prefer party games, right? That is what the big sellers are multiplayer-wise. I have got I've got all types of multiplayers here. I've got racing, I've got shooting, I've got beat-em-ups, I've got bloody Star Wars dogfights and Star Wars lightsabers, but no one plays any of those. The only ones that that families play together are party games and mini games. No one's going to sit down and do a co-op platformer from beginning to end.
No, but if it's fun, it's not necessarily like that. It sounds like you'll be manipulating the environment, and whilst one player tries to traverse it. That's amazing physics and gameplay and technology, and it's just fantastic.
What? So you basically mean, while one person's running around on one rock, another person will put another rock in his way to block his path.
Actually, they're rocks with green. They've actually got grass on them. I'll have you know.
I'm sorry. It's just It just looks so unimaginative, and the fact that it's in space, right? As soon as you see it, the first thing, I guarantee, the first thing you think, Mario fan or not, is how does he breathe in space? Right? And
yes,
the fact, and it's the fact that it makes you think practically. That's why Super Mario Sunshine was rubbish, because it started making you thinking about relating Mario to the real world, because there was a plane.
Yes, the problem with Sunshine was that. Can I just say something?
Apparently gave birth to baby Bowser.
No, but that was proved to be false at the end.
But even so, it's the first time that something realistic like planes, graffiti, crime, judge, and sex comes up in a Mario game.
Yes,
and it's completely out of order. Likewise, if you're thinking about how is he staying on those rocks, how is he breathing, you're just thinking too realistically.
No, but you don't. You just play. It's so simple. The problem with Sunshine was that it had something that was expendable and that could run out, that was necessary, other than health and oxygen. You had to have water, and if you had no water and you'd used it all when you got to the top and you needed it, that screwed it up.
There was so much bloody water in that game.
But you worried about it.
No, you didn't.
You worried
because there was so much bloody water in the game.
Anyway, that's just...
Right, storyline. Let's see. Bowser kidnaps Princess Peach again. And let's sing. He's tried going all over the Mushroom Kingdom. That didn't work. He's tried going all over the planet. That didn't work. Let's go into space, where he can't find us. I know. I'll hide on some rocks.
It works.
Super Paper Mario has got a fantastic storyline. It starts off. The evil Count Bleck has written the Dark Prognosticus. I may have got that name wrong, but which is a prophecy of how the universe will end. And to bring about this prophecy, he marries Peach to Bowser. So Mario has to travel back in time. We've got a bit of back.
But he's still saving Peach. And the thing is, the plot works. The plot works because it's been repeated. It's like Zelda. Link saves Hyrule. That every single time it's repeated, and it works. And it works for Mario 64, Mario Sunshine.
Okay, stop. That is it. You've had your chance. That was pretty good, man. I think that was excellent. Anyway. Okay, so now you've heard the debate, you can register your vote in the feedback section at www.weedsforum.com. And remember, you're voting for who won the debate, not your favourite game. Okay, here's Tom to introduce this week's main discussion.
This week's main discussion. Has the novelty worn off? Are we taking two screens for granted? Is motion sensing no longer as exciting as it first was? Are there any titles coming out that make us more excited than we have been in previous generations? And has the virtual console's novelty worn off? We're going to be discussing all this and more. So, I'll kick us off. Are we taking two screens for granted? Well, are we? I feel that some games just tack it on. Rubbish
it's really underused, and you don't think about it.
No, you don't think about touchscreen. You don't think about the touchscreen. You think, is it a good game? But you don't think, has it incorporated all of the facilities it could have done? Could it be better if it's done this? It's not used, and you don't really think about it.
I mean, the trouble is it's lost its wow factor. I picked up the DS the other day, and I didn't think, wow, it's got two screens. 2-3 years ago, you'd have never thought about that. A two-screen handheld. You could only concentrate on the one screen. But now you just don't think about it. It's like, okay, I know that's up there. I know I've got to keep my attention down here. And to be fair, it doesn't make a difference anyway, because you can only look at one screen at a time anyway. So, I worry that...
They've got... at least there is two screens. I mean, they don't have to use two screens. You can use one screen. I mean, games like Brain Training would not work with one screen.
No, fair point. And there are games that do really work. I'm looking forward to things like Hotel Dusk. I know you guys have downloaded that, but I'm really looking forward to that because it's so different to what you would get.
Yeah, that could not be done with one screen.
And the trouble is, with the beauty of two screens is you can, if you want to do DS games on a console, you'd have to either buy two tellies or split the screen in half, which would really ruin, it compresses the view too much. It's things like when you play when you play co-op on a game like Perfect Dark, you only get half the view of everything, so you don't get a clear view. But whereas there you've got two screens to look at, so you can see, it gives you more vision. But I don't know, it's just, I worry that because, and we've talked about this before, because third parties aren't making that much of an effort with it, we're not responding as much. We've yet to see anything that really grabs your attention by the fact that it's 2 screens, that it couldn't possibly work on 2 screens.
Yes,
sorry,
we
on
need
one
to
screen.
we need to start rejecting these rubbish games which we're getting from third parties. We need to boycott them. We need to stop. It sounds stupid, but if you don't buy it, they're not going to make them. As I said in the debate, you know, what sells is what is made. It doesn't necessarily make it
Yeah, but
good.
you're talking about the hardcore, right? The DS, its main success is the non-gamer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
with
I don't know.
Nintendo
So
and
that's
brain
good,
training and stuff. So those people are buying those games like these kids or whatever, or even adults. They like things like SpongeBob or whatever, don't they? And people buy things that are licensed to something that they like. So like if we like 24, right? So we bought 24 the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We might not like what was it, Hannah Montana or whatever it is that's coming out.
Yeah,
but
fair
other
point.
people do, and they're gonna buy it.
Yeah, but it does seem that the DS, I found that not as many games. As I've said before, I'm more of a first-party man. That, you know, the games that come from first parties are usually fantastic. But I've just found there's not that much third-party content, and even first-party content recently that's any good, that really, you know, you want to buy, that's a major title. And I think that DS has been really sidelined while they've been making the Wii and preparing it and getting it launched, and while it's in its first phases now, the DS has really been sidelined, I think.
I think the thing is, it is slightly, we're taking it for granted simply because we're so used to what will arrive. You know that in pretty much any DS title, there will be the action on one screen and the menu on the bottom, right, or vice versa, and the touch screen will control movement and the buttons will control actions. You know what to expect. We've yet to see anything that couldn't possibly, anything that really could not ever be done on one screen. And when we saw something like that, if we see something like that, then yes, then we'd have the DS would be brilliant. But so far, it's been everything you would expect. I don't know. Perhaps it's because gamers adapt a lot more quickly now than we used to. Perhaps I remember when the DS was first announced. Everyone was like, oh, well, how is 2 screens going to work? How is that possibly going to work? And everyone's picked one up, and because it works so well, everyone's just like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I totally agree.
And it's the reason that we've been taking it for granted is because we're used to it, because we know it works.
Yeah, I completely see where you come from, because I admit, when I saw the DS, and I was like, oh, I might be getting that, because I didn't get a GBA, I had a GBC, Game Boy Color. I didn't get a Game Boy Advance or an SP. I didn't like them, didn't like the appeal, I didn't like the games, just didn't like them in general, but we won't get into that. I bought the DS, and up to the launch, I was thinking, how's it going to work? Is it going to be great? Or, it could have problems, and I saw the problems that other Sony fanboys were presenting, they are valid. But luckily it worked, and I took the same risk with the Wii. I was thinking, up to launch, what have they done to Zelda? Is it going to work? But they pulled it off flawlessly. It has worked, and we just need to trust them. And I think that with some of the titles that are coming out on the Wii, it shows the potential of the Wii, but I think there is more that can come from the DS.
I think the third party should they need to, instead of just copying what Nintendo's doing, like, is it Sega making all these brain training games and stuff?
Yeah.
They need to actually think like Nintendo did and create something new and original that, would work on DS and not work on any other platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem here. Right, so what about motion sensitivity?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, that seems like, because we didn't know how well it was going to work, the novelty's worn off now that we know that it does work. I don't know. I think, but to be fair, I think motion sensitivity, because it's been used in such a small fashion so far, it's like, that's why the novelty's worn off. Wii Sports and Wii Play are the most out of my games collection, Wii Sports and Wii Play are the only truly new generation titles that I've got that really use the motion sensitivity. But even then, Wii Sports is literally just flicking the controller once. It's smaller movements.
Well, for me, I've noticed, because I've been buying a game a month, really, apart from on launch, and I bought a few and at Christmas. But I've noticed each month a new degree of sensitivity is added. For example, WarioWare, there were so many combinations of flicks, spins. it really did, and you had to dance. That is just the best minigame ever. You have to dance to the music, and it just it senses exactly what you're doing. You have to dance to the music and follow what's going on the screen. And even if it's not like an obvious dance move, you have to do it, otherwise you lose. And then you've got the next month, Excite Truck, which is really easy, so easy to steer, and really fun. And that added a new... That's much better than, by the way, if you're thinking of getting a bit worried because of the Wii Play cow racing game. It's much better than that. It's far superior to steering. And then, because I was worried about that, but then I bought SSX on Monday night, and it came on Wednesday, as I said. And the nunchuck, that's a hidden beast in its steering. It really is a new Link's Awakening. You just twist. You hold the nunchuck and you literally turn it. You just twist your hand to the right or to the left to steer it, and you actually feel like you're carving like a real snowboarder, and it's just amazing.
It is amazing.
And I didn't realise how powerful the nunchuck was.
I just worry that we're still in the honeymoon period. Oh, good. I still worry that we're in the honeymoon period, and we're still like impressed by the fact that you've got motion sensitivity, but it's gonna sink in very quickly that, oh my god, this does work. Now what? We need the games that really do the console justice, and then the novelty is going to wear off, and it's not going to be that must-have. The trouble, I mean, like the Wii still selling out everywhere, all around the world. You cannot walk into a shop and get a Wii.
No.
Partly because of supply problems, but partly because the demand's too great. But then, as soon as the world's got it, it'll be I'm worried that it's going to be a fad. Like a year later, it'll be like, oh well, the Wii came and went.
You do say that, but James, what games do you have?
I've got Splinter Cell, Red Steel, Wii Play, and Wii Sports.
They're all launch.
Yeah, they're all launch titles.
Yeah.
You've had like the launch. You haven't had the first generation of Wii titles, which SSX Blur and not Excite Truck. I think SSX Blur is the first generation Wii title. It uses the controls in a way that it doesn't feel like they just got a snowboarding game and tacked on these controls.
Yeah.
It feels like it was made for that.
Yeah.
And when you use like he said, when you use the nunchuck and you steer through the snow, it's just so effortless, and it just has. I couldn't go back to.
I'm afraid I've got to step out.
Okay, that's fine. We'll see you in a bit.
An emergency. Okay. I'll see you in a bit, hopefully.
See you later. Okay.
To be fair, I mean, I was saying to you earlier this week that I'm starting to think that the Wii and I were made for each other. I've been really getting into Splinter Cell this week, and I just don't think about the fact that you use the nunchuck stick to move, and then you twist your wrist to like move it, lay against the wall, and then you're using the Wiimote, like pointing the Wiimote for camera control. And I don't think about it. I've settled into this control scheme so quickly that I've not really thought about it. Dual analog, I always had.
You point the Wiimote for camera control?
You do, like when you.
Oh yeah, you told me about that,
yeah.
Didn't you? Yeah.
And it's a little finicky, but it does work.
It's a bit like Red Steel, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a little bit like Red Steel, but it does work. But I don't know. Yeah.
You see, I've heard with the new Prince of Persia game that's coming out, the camera's controlled with the nunchuck, and it works really well. You just twist the nunchuck to the side a little bit, and the camera turns, which is important in a Prince of Persia game, because I don't think you could take away the camera control in Prince of Persia, because it's really a main part of it, just like it is in Splinter Cell.
Yeah. I mean, like we've seen that the motion sensing works, and in that way the novelty hasn't worn off because we're still playing, but it's lost the wow factor. I think that's the problem that faces Wii and DS, is that once the wow factor is gone, do you look at it and think, well, all I've got here is a gimmicky machine that's just a novelty? It's like it's like dance mats.
But people called analog gimmicky when it first came out.
I guess, but analog was the natural progression of D-pad. D-pads were...
No, it wasn't, because D-pad shouldn't have been the natural progression, because before that we had joystick, which is much nearer to analog than D-pad.
Yeah, fair point.
It's a mixture of D-pad and analog, joystick.
Yeah.
Analog stick. That's what it is. But so what games do you think that are coming out in the future that you're more excited about than you were in previous... SSX Blur is for me, because I don't really play snowboarding games.
That's my thing, that's the thing. I'm thinking back to things like the N64... I don't know if that's like just me changing and growing up, and so you can't really compare previous generations because you were a different person back then, but things like back during the N64 days, I was so excited about Perfect Dark, I was so excited about Smash Brothers. I've said before, I think I said on the podcast last week, that I lost sleep over Smash Brothers. and I was really excited about getting Melee, but Brawl doesn't bother me at all, which is stupid because Twilight Princess, I've always been excited for Zelda games, but Twilight Princess is like, hey, I've got it, cool, I can just sit down and play it now, woohoo, yeah, I can save Hyrule. It wasn't that big a deal for me, and I don't know if that's because
Twilight Princess is just a refinement of Zelda.
Yeah.
Like, everything that makes Zelda great just in one game. It's like a love letter from Nintendo before they drastically change the franchise, which I think is what they're going to do.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just worry that perhaps it is that because Nintendo's now focusing on non-gamers and expanding the demographics, the hardcore gamers, they don't feel that first spark that they used to feel. You know, you don't feel that when you're standing there, waiting to go on that first quest in Ocarina of Time, when you've, done the adventure mode for the first time and you've gotten to Bowser and you have to fight Bowser on Melee, it doesn't feel the same because we've grown up through all those moments, and that's why the novelty's wearing off, because we now know more what to expect. I don't know,
we forget that for some people, this is like, the Wii is like their Mario Brothers.
I know, and I envy those people. I envy those people.
I do as well, because
but then
it's
I don't
a great
know,
because
I'd say that they're not like the Wii is even more impressive to the people who have played video games than it is to the people who haven't. Because the people who haven't have no idea how it feels to play a game with a controller.
How it's changing games.
I mean, the Wii. If they buy the Wii, and then they don't buy any other consoles, and then they buy the second Wii, it's just going to feel like, okay, well, this is just a progression of what the first thing was. But for us, because we're so used to holding our hands wrapped around a controller, and then to get this nunchuck and Wiimote that are great distance apart, it feels really liberating. So for the hardcore gamers, it's the Wii's a breath of fresh air, more so than it is for non-gamers.
I think that's what's making it so successful. Because even the hardcore are attaching onto the games like we play.
Yeah.
And that's the secret of their success is the fact that they're making games that would appeal to hardcore for like you said, they're fresh and new.
Yeah.
But then also appeal to non-gamers because they're non-threatening and don't have 500 buttons and stuff going on and all these controls.
Yeah.
So
they're
doing a good job.
The functionality of the Wii, I was really impressed about all these features, but now I worry that novelty is wearing off. Because things all the channels I don't use anymore. The Everybody Votes channel I'm flicking simply out of duty, just to check it. News channel, weather channel I don't use. Photo channel I don't use. Me channel I don't use unless I'm adding someone new. Virtual console I rarely use. I worry that the novelty is wearing off because those are novelties, those are gimmicks, those are little extras that you get on the console. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
I am the same. I don't use the channels that much, but when I do use the photo channel, I use it for a good 2-3 hours.
Yeah,
and I have a good fun time with it, and I send you guys pics and stuff over the the Wii Connect 24 and.
But then sending stuff. Not many people send stuff. I've got about 20 contacts on my Wii, and no one sends me anything apart from one guy, and for the love of God, stop it if you're listening, sends me a message telling me which Virtual Console games have come out every Friday at about 4 a.m. Right?
Madman.
Apart from I don't know what's wrong with him, but apart from that. No one sends me anything. No one, And when you first heard about the Wii, you're like, oh wow, I'm going to send messages to all my mates, and you don't. You don't send that many messages.
Because when they first announced it, they said that SMS text messaging would be able to be possible as well. I was like, oh my god, I could SMS people from my Wii.
Well, you can email people from your Wii if you register an email address. But
yeah, I know, I've done that. I've done that. It's W and then your Wii number, isn't it? And then Wii.com. But yeah. So what about the Virtual Console?
Again, the novelties when I also worry that the Virtual Console's days are numbered if they're going to release all the best titles within the first year, because now think about it, we have very little to wait for. We've already got.
Yeah, but we're definitely going to get new games
I would bloody
on the
hope so.
demo
I
channel.
would hope so.
They've I've heard Matt from IGN, and they've said that there's definitely rumblings going on in the industry that this is definitely happening.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when. It's not like, oh, they should do this. They're doing it. It's happening behind doors. When it's ready, it will come. Nintendo don't rush things out. If they, they wait. They keep They keep things in the oven until they're baked good, and then when they're nice, they come out proper, like Zelda.
Yeah, but then look at that. I mean, we've got pretty much most of the Zelda series on the Virtual Console now. You've got the 2 NES ones, the SNES one, and Ocarina of Time, and those are the 4 best Super Mario, 4 best Zelda games. With the exception of Zelda 2, obviously. Those are 4 of the best Zelda games going. The Super Mario series, we've already got the original Super Mario's Brothers and Super Mario World, which are the 2 best, and Super Mario 64. You've got the best of each generation on there already, and we've only had it 3 months, 4 months, And if they need to keep up the momentum of titles, if people are still going to download stuff, are you in a year's time still going to be excited about what's coming out on the Virtual Console?
No, but do you reckon after say that obviously they've got graphs that show what Virtual Console games are selling and what aren't? Do you think that once certain games go through their life cycle and they're not going to sell anymore and no one's buying them, do you think they'll put them out for free with another game, or just free in general?
I don't know.
At certain occasions, it's Christmas. Oh, here's Mario Brothers free for anyone who hasn't got it. Just go download it.
Possibly, I don't know. I do think they need to rethink the prices, I guess.
I think we're getting Neo Geo titles soon as well, so that's gonna.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
That's gonna.
And Sega Saturn is heading here as well. So yeah, when they add more systems, there'll be more
so if they
appeal.
add a hard drive, I don't know if they're going to add a hard drive.
No, they're not. They dismissed that. I've put that in the news.
Oh.
Thanks for the main discussion, guys, and let's move on to this week's Wiiview of the week. This week's Wiiview is SSX Blur for Wii. The game is published by EA, or EA Sports. The gameplay in SSX Blur follows a similar style to the previous SSX titles. It's very similar to SSX 3, as the player works up through 3 peaks on a mountain, and you do both races and trick competitions to earn prizes and other unlockable material. You have to complete the first peak before you can move on to the second, and then the second before you can move on to the third, but that gives the character some direction in the game, which is good. As on SSX Tour, some characters use snowboards whilst others will use skis. The game controls are fantastic. They're brand new. There's never been anything like it on any other console, and neither on the Wii. The game uses some rather interesting controls, which I will now explain. You push forwards on the control stick on the nunchuck to move forwards and, to accelerate, and you pull back to brake and stop. You turn the nunchuck left and right in your hand to carve left and right in the game on your skis or on your snowboard. Now, for me, that's an amazing thing, because I didn't realise quite how powerful the nunchuck's motion detection was, and it's really fantastic, the degree of accuracy with which it reads your movement of your arm. It really works very well, and I was a bit nervous to begin with, but it's fantastic and easy to use. So you can flick the nunchuck up in the air to jump. You can also hold A down on the Wii remote to crouch, and then let go of it when you reach the top of a jump to jump up into the air, and you then can use the remote to, you just literally go left to do a left spin, right to do a right spin with the Wiimote, up to do a backwards roll and a backwards flip in the air, and forwards to do a forwards flip in the air. And obviously if you do a variety of them, you can do flips and spins that combine together, and it's fantastic. It's really fun, and you just swing around the remote wildly, and it's awesome. You then press A at the end, so it stops your trick, but just before you hit the ground, so you can carry on going. As the player races down the hill, they can successfully complete tricks to earn points, as well as to build up an ever-depleting boost meter. You also, in this game, it seems, the boost comes, you can get to at least level 1, possibly level 2 of the boost meter, just by snowboarding down without crashing, which is quite good, and it gives you some boost to use. And to boost, you press Z. When the boost meter is full, you can then do uber tricks, which all SSX fans will know, which require the player to draw a specific shape that's not always shown on screen, but as long as the gesture is followed correctly, it will be pulled off. You will know some uber tricks at the beginning of the game, but additional ones will be discovered in career mode by hitting all targets for that uber trick across the various courses. As usual, there are a variety of characters which you can play as in SSX Blur. There is Allegra, Elise, Felix, who is a new character, Griff, Jean-Paul, or JP, as you might know him, Kaori, Mackenzie, or Mac, Maya, Moby, Simon, Sky, and Zoe. SSX Blur has received scores. Well, the scores are varied. They're not too varied, however. The lowest score is from 1UP, who have given it 5.5 out of 10, which is, if you like, 55%. The highest score comes from Game Radar, which gave it 9 out of 10. I personally think the game is very fun, and it shows the true potential of the Wii and the controls that can be used, and it also shows off how wonderful the nunchuck is, and it really hasn't been used enough, I think. As I said, if you like SSX3, you're going to like this game, because the peaks share very similar architectural designs, and there are some tracks that come from SSX3. The soundtrack is composed by Junkie XL, and he's done them before, and it's quite good. Also, the music is quite dull and very quiet. However, as you get more boost in your meter, the music gets louder and faster, and it's quite a good system. I like the way it works. It's very clever. And obviously you've got your EA Radio Big, which is the fake radio station that plays the songs and that talks to you and things. It's very good. So, for me, I'd give the game 8 out of 10, and I really do recommend picking up a copy if you like the SSX franchise. And if you're new to it, there's nothing stopping you from going to Game in the UK and buying it. And then if you don't like it, take it back within 10 days. Well, that's it from this week's Wiiview, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll go out and buy the game. Now, moving on. Welcome to the online section. This week's website of the week is www.wiiminder.com. Go check it out on your Wii Internet channel now. It has tabbed browsing, superior functions to the normal browser, and much more. Check it out at wiiminder.com. Only works on your Wii. Moving onwards, our forum member of the week is... drumroll, Wii. He's provided us with fantastic signatures, and we're really grateful and appreciate his hard work. They're awesome. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, they're brilliant. I mean, like, they're even better than the ones he did for us like 2 weeks ago. Because he's like, and he's not doing it just for the host. He's doing it for everyone. You know, you just go along, you put up you post an image that you want, you give a little stuff, and he delivers exactly what you want.
I know. Oh, what a great Nintendo fan. Thanks.
Thanks, Wii. Every signature has a good for signature maker. And I think we've got about 2 or 3, but Wii's well out there. He's set up shop.
Yeah, so if you want to see some fantastic images, go onto our forum, and I'll give the address in a minute. I just want a personal thanks to Wii. It's great. I gave him pretty much nothing to go on. I just said I wanted Zelda, I wanted it to be black, grey and white, and 400 by 100 pixels, and it was nothing that I was expecting, but it was great.
I just want to say, you did exactly what I wanted. Exactly. Like, the thing I visioned in my head was exactly the signatures that you made for me. And my friend made me another signature, and I will be alternating between your signatures and her signatures, so thanks for that. Because I love them all, I can't choose one.
Okay, the newbie of the week is... Waves. Welcome to the forums. Have a good time while you're here.
Welcome to everyone else who's signed up before Waves. Can we just ask, though, if you have signed up to the forums, could you post, please? Because, I mean, just get into it. I mean, like, people like Dippy and Toz have got into it really well, and they're really, like, you know, they're recognisable members of the community now. But there are so many members who've just signed up and not posted at all.
Yeah.
And when, like, if you don't know what to post, there's an introduction section. Just stick in there, say, hello, my name's such and such. You can say whatever you like, you know.
Yeah.
And I guarantee within an hour or two, you'll have like 4 or 5 people welcome you in.
Yeah. Seriously, it's great, and you're gonna love it. Don't worry, we're not scary. We don't bite. We're just very welcoming and love you here. So
And if you're up at like 3 a.m, you'll probably catch me on there.
Yeah, and some of our Japanese visitors or American visitors. So you never know.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving onwards again. The topic of the week is... Hooray for friend codes! Click on the thread for a sarcastic approach to Nintendo's friend codes, which we all love and cherish. And come and join the community at www.wiidsforum.com. That's wiidsforum.com, wiidsforum.com, not wiidsforums.com, so do not put an S on the end. That's all from the online section this week, and here's Manny and James with this week's feedback from you, the fans.
Okay, this has got to be the first 2-page feedback forum thread we've ever had. As usual, we posted up what did you think of the episode, and we've got like 2 pages of stuff, and it's all triggered because we spent quite a lot of time talking about Home and Little Big Planet. So let's find some quotes. Manny, have you found anything did anyone's views particularly appeal to you?
There's one personally to me about my mumbling, which I have to apologise for because my mic isn't great, and I will get a better mic for you guys. I don't want to disservice, you guys at the podcast or anything. So I will get a better mic. It's just a matter of time.
Here we go. Beautiful James summed this up quite quickly. Right, the episode was okay, guys, but one of the worst, to be honest. Why? Too much PS3 bum licking. Okay, the whole home thing with Sony is pretty impressive, but I'm not sure that myself and others want over half an hour on it. We can only apologise about that. It was too big. We've made our apologies on the forum, so we'll just read more stuff out. He continues to go on saying, the debate was pretty impressive this week, but I feel like I was crying out for Manny to say some more things about Mario, as he could have easily won it. Well, to be fair, he did now, but that was just because of the second week. Manny, it's generally the general consensus on the forum that you didn't make enough of the case. So I don't know how you won that one debate.
That's anomaly, an anomaly like the Wii. Yeah.
Yeah.
The DS.
Mill, to be fair, took our side. He said there was pretty much nothing else to talk about unless you gave a second-by-second review of the Mario trailer, which we've all seen a few times by now, and to be honest, it wasn't all that exciting anyway.
There was one post that has been deleted, I think. I don't know why. But,
okay.
Someone said that I lifted parts of my review from IGN, which is totally untrue, because I wrote this on a bus. So I was nowhere near an IGN review.
Fair enough.
I was writing it on a bit of paper, and then I came home and...
overall, if you look at the poll at the top, we've had 12 of our members vote for it, and most of them have gone with a great episode, although it could have been better.
Yeah, so, 9 out of 11.
9 out of
5.
So we appreciate the feedback as ever, guys.
Yeah, can
keep
I
it coming?
Respond to something?
Yep, go for it.
Just to give the fans an idea of what goes on the forums. Who don't visit, you should visit, by the way. We're going to give you incentives somehow to visit our forum. It's a fantastic place. But we argued with Beautiful James for a bit, and there's no hard feelings between us, and it's going fine. But I said that we have to cater to everyone's tastes, and you may not be interested in the main discussion of a certain show. For example, if you don't like Pokemon, you want to skip through the main discussion of a show where we talk about Pokemon. It's like the radio; we can't play songs that everybody likes. And it just, we can't make everybody like everything, and it's like a political party in some respects. You can't appeal to everyone. So we're sorry if you didn't enjoy it, but if you did enjoy it, we're very pleased you did, and we'll be back to goodness and continuing the show soon.
We do our best. Right, let's move on to the We Vote section. This has also been a little controversial with people, so we're going to skip through this quite quickly. 3 of the questions, because we've been away for 2 weeks, there was so many questions we would have spent an entire podcast just talking about them, but we've picked out 3. Which best describes you, early worm or night owl? Manny, we all know the answer for this one. That was quite an impressive owl impression. You just you don't do the daylight, do you?
I don't.
You don't.
I am quite a night owl. I stay up till like 4 or 5 a.m.
Yes.
I can't help it. I don't know why I do it, and
Tom,
I just don't like the daylight.
What do you like, Tom?
I'm a bit of a Dracula.
I'm an early worm?
Yeah.
I'm one of them because I get up at 6:30 every day for school, and have done for the last 3 and a bit years, so I'm used to it, and I've always been an early waker since I was young, but I can stay up late as well, like if I'm interested in whatever's going on. But I'm an early guy. It means I can do whatever I want, and to be honest, for me at least, to get more out of the day, there's more hours in the day to do things.
I guess. To be fair, that's part of the reason. I'm a night owl, perhaps not to the extent that Manny is, but I won't get up until about 9-10 o'clock. Even if I get up at 8, I won't get started on what I'm doing until about 10-11 o'clock.
Oh no,
and then I'll stay up until 12, not doing anything. But it's partly because I have to work until about 10:30 at night. Second question, what kind of musician would you be? A pianist or a guitarist?
I chose pianist.
Seriously? Most people go with guitarist.
I really want to learn to play the keyboard and stuff, because I do sound design degree, and we use MIDI keyboards to use sound to apply music and stuff to our work, and it would be really helpful if I I should learn. I will. I do want to learn to play the keyboard so I can play piano as well. But
Yeah,
I did play the guitar a little bit when I was younger. But
I went with guitarist simply because society says it's cooler.
I knew everyone was going to say guitarist.
That so did I.
It did win the votes.
I put that down as what everyone will vote for, but I was honest and I voted pianist because I play the piano. So yeah.
Where can you eat the best food, home or restaurant?
Well, the thing is,
at home.
Home, easily.
I don't know. I feel very bad because my family and my grandma and my mum cook fantastic food, but I think you get perhaps more variety at a restaurant.
Well, of course you do. Not many people have lobster in the lobster and shepherd's pie in the fridge, do they?
But then I suppose the question was phrased badly. Perhaps where would you prefer to eat?
Yeah, I guess.
And, master chefs who are paid fortunes, of course they're going to cook better food, but I don't know. I think the question was phrased badly.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
they're limited by their 2-response answer, but let's not get into that.
No. Manny, what's been released on Virtual Console this week?
Okay, this week, you lucky people, we've got 2 legendary... Well, there isn't much games, but there's 2 games, but they're really good games. And they are Castlevania for the NES. Don't know if you guys... Have any of you played that?
No, I haven't played that.
I played it a little bit. It's quite
I've not
hardcore.
played any Castlevania titles, actually.
It's a very hard franchise to get into, I find.
Yeah.
I played a bit of it on the DS, but... Anyway, okay. And I want a drum roll for this.
We need
The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past for the SNES.
Excellent.
Hey.
And I have
Thank
downloaded
God.
that already, because I lost my
What?
GBA copy.
The one game I have in my list of shame. Yes, I get to play it finally.
Excellent.
And I will complete it and, yeah, I'll blog about it.
I'll be downloading it when the show's over.
Excellent. Okie doke.
Okay, shall I crack on with the release
Yep,
dates?
by all means.
Okay. We're out today, which is the 23rd of March, is the Godfather Black Hand Edition, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Next week, on the 30th, we've got Blazing Angels. This is for the week, by the way, sorry. We've got Blazing Angels, Disney's Meet the Robinsons, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, Heat Seeker, Medal of Honor Vanguard, and Metal Slug Anthology, which has been a long time coming, because I think it's a launch title, and yes. Anyway, on the DS, we've got, on the 23rd of March, we've got Bomberman Land Touch, Bubble Bubble Double Shot, Flipper Critters, Mind Quiz Mystery Detective, Tamagotchi Connection Corner Shop 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Theme Park, Uno Skip Bow and Uno Free Fall, Uno 52, and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Spirit Caller. And on the 30th of March we have Kronos Twins, Disney's Meet the Robinsons, Gunpei DS, Lunar Knights, Pogo Island, and Settlers.
Excellent.
Yeah, quite a lot of games out.
Yeah, I mean,
The drought's ended.
it's encouraging that, that many games come out. But then, it goes back to the old thing that, all those games come out each week, and yet you can only buy one a week at most. Just think of the amount of games that don't make, any good sales.
Games that you miss, yeah.
So,
There's this guy on the Revo Europe forums, and he's trying to play 50 games in a year.
Jesus.
To complete them. It's mad.
fair enough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Time well spent.
Yeah.
Okay, competition time. This is our very first contest. If you browse through YouTube and various other sites, you might come across a comedian called Pablo Francisco, and he can do a worryingly good impression of the movie preview voice. When you go to see the trailers, you've got that voice used like action, romance, desire, and he does a much better impression than I do. What we want you to do is write a Nintendo trailer for a Nintendo film as if he would read it out. Here's his example of a trailer that he would do.
In the city, you must fight to survive. He sold tortillas on the corner, and the mob wanted in. I don't know where this guy is, but I want him and his tortillas dead. He had one chance, and his chance was to fight back. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Listen to me. These are my tortillas, and I'm not going to eat them out here. You have to get out of here. They're trying to kill you. And music soundtrack by Aaron Neville. You better watch out. They're going to take your tortillas. You better get going. They didn't know who he was. Mijito, who does me no Nintendo came here. What did they want? Listen to me. And don't listen to me here. You have to get out of here. They're trying to take my tortillas. One man, one solution. Arnold Schwarzenegger this summer is... No! Little Tortilla Boy.
Right, so you've heard that. We want a Nintendo one, and we obviously can't call in Pablo Francisco, but me or Manny or both of us will perform it on a future podcast once we've done it. If you post, we'll start a thread on the forums in the feedback section, and you can post your entries there, and we will pick a winner in a future podcast. Okay, I think we're going to wrap up now. Community outlet. Remember to email us at weedspodcast@gmail.com. Please put fan mail in the subject box so that we know what you're talking about. Check out our MySpace at www.myspace.com/theweedspodcast. That's the Weeds Podcast. Add us as your friends, get to know us, and generally, it's the community thing. Alternatively, you can find our Frappr map at www.weedspodcast.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and make your mark. We want to find out who is listening and where you are. The forums are located at www.weedsforum.com. If you join, you'll get access to all the latest Weeds news, episode previews, the chance to join in the debate polls, and a friendly community just waiting to welcome you. So join now, because the Weeds forums really are the best place to be. And with that, I am James.
I am Manny.
And I'm Tom.
See you, people.
Take care.
Bye.